Yeah, yeah.
No?
This is a button pusher. Cody would be the awesome button pusher. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm not gonna hold you, because that would be funny. We wouldn't have to worry about button pusher making sound effects like this and having us come live like this. What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of WERD. I am one of your hosts, HaplessLuckett.
I'm Jake.
And Fireball and Julian are missing. Guyman are missing today. So in their stead, we have Austin Byrd. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm awesome. I'm happy to be here.
I appreciate you being here. Why don't you scoot on over this way?
This is the spot, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
We know each other.
Yeah, we all get there. So how was you guys this weekend?
You know, it was nice and relaxing. Got to hang out on a couple of sets and meet some new people, and now I'm here.
Nice. It's nice. What about you, guy?
I helped my friend welcome his family into their new home, helped them move in.
Nice.
And for being a 35-year-old, I'm proud to say I'm not sore.
Oh, wow.
After moving, like, washing machines.
Washing machines and
dryers.
I would be dead.
Yeah, I know.
I would be dead.
Cross my fingers.
You'll probably feel it tomorrow or
Maybe
next.
Tomorrow.
So I hope you guys are doing well. Actually, I left my phone over there, so the topics are in my phone.
Here.
So,
we have backup.
Yes, backups are always good. And I hope you guys are doing well. Actually, you know what? I got to pull this up so that way I can see who is chiming in with us. Here we go. All right. So the first thing I want to talk about is obviously I'm a big movie guy. I like movies. I know you guys like movies. But there's a lot of discrepancy between newer movies and older movies. Obviously, everyone's thinking like the older movies are way better than the newer ones, and vice versa. What do you guys think? Like, what are the comparison between the new ones and the old ones? Because I feel like the old ones have more heart to them because it was harder. They were harder to make.
Mm-hmm. And
now with CGI being a thing, it's just like, hey, I want to make a movie about doing this. You don't have to jump through hoops, make miniatures, and do all this. You just build it in CGI and have it. But I feel like people overdo that. What do you think?
Very noticeable.
Yeah.
It really changes the dynamic. I think in the 90s, what we saw were a lot of films that had to take on what would need a lot of CGI in today's times. And they were able to say, well, we're kind of on the advent of CGI. They were using like Windows 95.
Yeah.
You know? So
Independence Day,
yeah. Jurassic Park, you know, and the CGI in those films actually does stand the test of time. And the live models, the practical effects that they were able to utilize to create those films are why they are the staples they are. And I think perfect comparison, those two you mentioned. Okay, Independence Day, Jurassic Park. Two movies that have had recent remakes or sequels.
Yes.
So you see adaptations of them in the 21st century.
Alien, another one.
Alien's another one, yeah. Mortal Kombat.
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of them. The list goes on and on.
It goes on and on. And I'm really honing in on how the CG in Jurassic Park 1 doesn't necessarily look super dated compared to what you would see in the first Jurassic World, right? Or the last Jurassic Park, like Jurassic Park 3.
Yeah.
Independence Day 2, with the overdone CG for the city destruction scenes, just did not have the same impact of an actual exploding White House.
Yeah, like it did in the
exploding
first
New York.
Yeah, the
right.
First one was,
like,
yeah.
They really built these structures, like, and blew them up. The spaceship itself was real. They could have done better with that, but for what it was at the time, it was
yeah, it was
pretty innovative.
What do you think, Jay? Because you're a film guy yourself, so you work on these projects just like I have, but you had more experience, so you get to understand and get to see things. So, like, how do you feel about the difference between the two of them?
I mean, I'm full blown nostalgia goggles, but like the 90s, the 90s just really stand out because it was that experimental time and phase where we got to see the building blocks for what we got today.
Yeah.
So I mean, just because they're the OGs, I gotta respect them.
Yeah.
Like,
of course.
the new CGI that we have, it's getting more impressive as time has gone on with, like, Thanos.
Yeah.
As much as it pains me to admit that.
Best CGI character ever. Maybe, arguably.
So, I mean, like, there's things like Thanos, right? And that
Mm-hmm.
all came from things like that Independence Day. But,
Yeah.
I mean, outside of Thanos, that's where it was at before I started to walk back. Outside of Thanos, like, there really hasn't been huge leaps in innovation in CGI.
Not much. They're really. I mean,
that's what it is.
Honestly, if you really want to think about it, like Lion King, we forget that Lion King is supposed to be this quote unquote live action, but it's really not.
Right.
The whole entire movie is 100% CGI, but it's photorealistically CGI. Like it, which is probably why it was not good, because it was photorealistic and you lose a lot of the realism in the characters. But there are still
technology.
But it's still also Disney's engine. Like a lot of the better CGI movies usually come from Disney. At least me. Like when it comes to like photorealism and combining it with realistic and practical, it's most of the time it's Disney, because Disney
too. Peter Jackson's company does a lot.
Yeah,
of
this
stuff
is true.
Too.
This is true.
But,
yeah. What's
Disney,
going on, Cirrus? Yes, I didn't care for ID2 either. I think that was probably because you go into it, like, especially like Jurassic Park for one thing. Jurassic Park had a decent trilogy. 3 was kind of just mediocre, but when it came back and rebooted it and redid it or remade it, I don't know what that was. We'll get to reboots and makers later. Yes, that continuation was like, it was really good. I loved the Jurassic World just almost as much as I like Jurassic Park. But Independence Day, yeah, that high expectation, it's like you make a birthday cake, not a birthday cake, but a wedding cake, and that's Independence Day 1. It's beautiful. It's every piece is immaculate, and then you go to Walmart and buy a pie for the next time, and it's just like there's no comparison. It's like, wow, there was so much love and care with this, but now that you got money, it's just like, hey, we could just go and buy this, and it's like, no, what happened to your cake? So I feel like Independence Day, yeah, but
well, what do you think about?
Do you have a lock on your phone?
Well, with another comparison, hold on here.
Yeah, this
might be an unpopular opinion.
Okay, that's what we do here with unpopular opinions.
I think Mortal Kombat 95 pulled it off better than the more recent one.
See, it's a good thing Fireball and Julian aren't here.
I can think these two things at the same time. I was very entertained by the new one.
Yes.
I was very entertained by the new one. I like the direction they're taking it in.
Yeah. And
the things that I appreciate about 90s, or what we just talked about, the use. Okay, the CGI is trash.
Yeah, the CGI Reptile was trash.
But the practical effects and the set pieces that they used, they incorporated so much more themes of horror.
Yes.
And even though it didn't show too many fatalities, it showed brutal deaths. Scorpion still did the space rip thing, even though he ended up getting killed. Shang Tsung was ripping souls out. You know, Sub-Zero gets impaled. It's just, it had a
dude gets blown up.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude gets blown up by Sub-Zero. So
like, the new one didn't have that atmosphere in Outworld.
Yeah, it didn't. It really did.
Melina had it. I like how the character designs were, but the atmosphere in the first one, especially with that EDM soundtrack, with like, it was an experience.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel the new one was like, okay, we have to bring it back and reestablish it. And they were more focused on making sure they had something good to work with, to build into, versus the first one being like, hey, we got the money to make a cool video game movie. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Oh, this popped off. Let's make a crappy sequel.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk
about it yet.
Yeah,
we don't bring that up. I'm sorry.
We don't. Yeah, that's one of the 3 or 4 movies we don't talk about here. That and X-Men.
Apologies.
But you're new.
Now you will die.
God. Mother, you're alive. Too bad you will die. One of the top. I know this is off topic. That's one of the top 3 worst written dialogues in cinema history.
You know they did
that, and
they did.
Sand. I hate Sand.
God. Each one of those takes, you know, they had multiple takes of it, so they had multiple times just looking at it on screen and seeing it on camera on the monitor. Like, damn, we're really gonna run with this.
They're just like, you know what? Fuck it, keep it, run it.
Don't even want to even like, you know.
Oh man.
Like if you could go back in time and like crew on a movie, like what would you crew on? Mortal Kombat Annihilation would not even. It's not even on the radar, man. Like the list. It's like you unfurl this big ass list. It's like at the wall. Like, it's at 105.
It's like that's just how bad we don't want to talk about this.
Movie's cursed.
Oh my god, it is.
Cursed.
It is. Like,
Shao Kahn.
oh my god.
Oh, God. Okay, let's keep it going. Hold on.
No, yeah.
We're stepping aside for a second to get it in.
You know what? It's fine. We can, because this is what nerd words are about. If we get off track, who cares?
I'm sorry.
No, it's too late. It's already happened.
You brought him up. That was a dude. That was a dude.
And the way that they introduced him in the first one. I think this is like the third time we've ripped on Annihilation in our podcast career. Yeah, but it's so true. It is so true. They advertise him as this monster. They advertise him as Shao Kahn.
It was dope.
In the end of the first one. And it's like, yes, we're going to see Shao Kahn. And we're going to... Why he bald?
Why is he do? I seen this dude in the grocery store.
like I said,
I know he was on Buffy, but
like,
still.
Like I said on the last time, it was like the makeup artist like quit, and they had to run outside. We're like, hey, who? You want to be in a movie?
Man.
You want to be Shao Kahn? Come here. Run these lines.
It's like you're making a sequel. The budget's supposed to increase.
Yeah.
They were like, they must have sniffed it all up or something. Also, seeing some of the dialogue that made it into that movie and the practical effects.
There's a YouTube channel called Matt McMuscles. He does like what happened. He calls what happened, and it explains like some of the greatest atrocities in gaming and in film world. And he has an episode on Mortal Kombat Annihilation. It's super interesting. It even explains and now you
will die.
I'm watching that, so you don't have to
what is it?
Send that link my way.
It's called What Happened.
What happened?
Yeah.
Well,
What
there's
Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
There's a little plug for you. What happened? You're welcome. Jesus.
Matt McMuscles, sponsor me. Sponsor me, senpai.
Wow.
Begging.
What other? Off the top of our head, are there Alien? That's another movie that was made in the 90s that got remade, but
70s.
70s. That's right, late 70s. It was like 78, 79. Yes,
So they filmed it in 78 or 77. Yeah.
But that was another movie that was not only so great, but it was also ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Like how Star Wars was. Star Wars and Alien were ahead of its time. Little known fact, they made Star Wars first. And they were trying to figure out, like, you know, trying to explore the whole space thing. Mm-hmm. So I think Alien was pitched. Actually, Alien was, you might have to fact check me on it, but I think this is how it went. Alien was pitched first before Star Wars came out. And they were like, oh, no, we don't want space movies. And then Star Wars came out. And then they were like, yeah, we're going to do space movies.
We can do this.
We can do this. Mm-hmm. And I think it was a good decision. Again, it was a great decision because Alien is probably one of my favorite movies of all time. It's so good. But they kind of, again, it's one of those movies that they put, you saw what they put into the first one. They saw what the craft, the love, and the workmanship that went into the first one. And in the second one, it's just like, hey, we can piss out money and people are going to go see it.
They did it
sort of like, they did it okay, but they did it, it's still... Like Alien Covenant, for example.
Oh, the new ones. I thought you were talking about Alien.
Oh, yeah, the original one. Like the first and the sequel were really good. 3 was okay, and then they did the decline. But I'm talking about like Prometheus and Covenant. Alien Covenant, they were good, but you could just look at the Alien from the first 2 movies and then look at Covenant, and it's just like, well, it's night and day. It's like looking at a PlayStation 5 graphics and then going later and then looking at a PlayStation 2 graphic. Or I'll give it PlayStation 3. It's like, that was just so good in Aliens. There was no CGI. There was these puppeteers, excellent puppeteers. Yeah. Creepy horror, but then...
Was that Stan Winston?
What?
Did he do Aliens? The
Aliens
designer?
was... the designer, I'm not sure.
He's like one of the best. Rest in peace, Stan Winston. He's one of the best.
But I think that's one of the things that it's just that as CGI gets going, people are still more used to CGI, and I guess it's more the norm for high budget filmmaking as it was back in the 90s. So I don't know. That's just me. That's just me personally. You all right, Jake?
Yeah, got a point.
Yeah.
But
Practical effects with the best example, the movie that I think from the 90s that stands the best of time. Fifth Element.
oh my God, yes.
The best mix of practical and CG
Yeah.
in a film.
I think that's one of the movies that if they ever try to remake,
Can't do it.
they should instantly jump out of whatever building
Yeah,
they're in. Do not. Please do not.
Never make a movie like that again.
Yeah, you can't.
You can't even make a movie like that again. That was a whole universe in one film.
In
just
one
enough.
film.
Just enough. And it was like, whoa.
And it was perfect.
Perfect.
And it wasn't too crowded with CGI. The story was enthralling.
Oh my God, Carmen!
The acting was on point.
Multipass.
Little Dallas multipass. Little Dallas multipass. She get it. It's a multipass. She gets it.
Oh man. My God. And
never again. Never again.
Now,
Can't do it.
back in the day when I originally watched it, I can remember, because it was a long period before I've seen it last, and the most recent time that I've seen it, which I saw like a year or two ago. But there was a long period, like maybe 10, 15 years between those two periods where I didn't see it. And I remember there being a lot more action, but there really wasn't a lot of action in that movie. It was maybe like one scene, two scenes, but a lot of it was just in the dialogue, and a lot of it was in the interaction with the worlds and the characters, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Another movie that they should never, ever remake. This actually could segue into our next category. Our main topic is reboots and remakes. So another movie that they should never, ever in the history ever try to remake is Sandlot. Like, I know that there's a lot of that's one that should never touch.
They couldn't redo anything.
No.
Look at the praise that West Side Story's getting.
Yeah.
I know it's Steven Spielberg, that's the G, but
No.
You can remake. There's certain things, because they made sequels to that.
Yeah.
That's different.
Making sequels is different.
Yeah.
But completely taking what's original and remaking it.
Yeah, that's a timepiece.
It's like taking down the Statue of Liberty and then rebuilding it and adding a couple of changes to it. Taking away the charm of the Statue of Liberty, like taking away the tablet and the torch and replacing it with something else.
Captain America.
Maybe not that exaggerated. Okay, we're not.
Those bastards did that.
Hey,
kissing the Avengers' ass.
But look, if we were living in a period where the Avengers existed and they did what they did, do you think that would be appropriate?
I don't know, man.
I mean, granted, France gave it to us for our freedom, but Captain America saved us from complete annihilation.
I know. He got that work, man.
So,
when Thanos sewed up, man, him and Black Panther just got kind of quick.
What's in the other hand where the torch would be gone? Is it the machine gun?
What if it was
the American shield?
No, the shield, and then Repulsor from Iron Man. Because Iron Man with the gauntlets, is technically Iron Man was the one that really did save the entire galaxy. If you think about
Strange. Because Strange.
Strange, yeah. You know what? We're not gonna get into that, but there are some movies that. See, I think that's where the gray area comes in, because there are movies that you shouldn't just touch. You should never touch. As far as rebooting or remaking.
Titanic.
Like, yeah, you
can't do Titanic.
You can't redo Titanic. I mean, there are... Like,
in 100 years, maybe.
If you, like, Lion King, even though it was not the greatest, stuff like that could probably get a reboot or remake, because even though they're timeless classics, they're still cartoons. Like,
that in itself was a reboot, so... Yeah,
exactly. But what do you guys think the comparison between reboots and remakes really actually does for the existing material, Jake?
Disney really shat.
Not Disney. I didn't
itself
know.
when they rebooted Lion King like that. They did those animators in the 90s dirty. They were like, oh, you think that's cool? Check this shit out.
That's just how it goes.
Like, flipping them off.
It was more tasteful than the Star Wars prequels.
Oh God, what, Lion King?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
The Star Wars prequel, or specifically Attack of the Clones, went super overboard with the CG. I'm like, y'all can use more set pieces.
Well, also the first one was kind of overboard.
That was good though. I think that was one of the ones that pushed it forward though.
But again, as far as reboots and remakes, what do you think that actually does for like the original material? Like if they were to remake something or reboot something, what do you think the difference would be?
You know, one would hope it'd be a better, more well-adapted story, well-rounded story on a reboot.
Yeah.
That's about as far as my thought goes on that.
Because like Halloween, for example.
Yeah.
That didn't get remade. It got
rebooted in a sequel. Resequeled.
Yeah, resequeled.
That has to be a word. It was resequeled.
It was. What else was... There was another movie that was like re-trequeled. Terminator. Like the first two were canon.
Yep.
And then the third one was...
Dark Fate. Oh, what? 3 in Salvation?
Yeah, those were just...
Yeah,
fluttered out, but they no longer canon to the original story. So I guess
Dark Fate. Did you see it?
I still haven't seen it.
It's not bad. It's Terminator 2 is just. I'm saying it, best movie ever in my opinion. If you had like a museum that had a plaque of best movies humans ever created, I would say Terminator 2 is on there.
Oh, absolutely, Terminator.
Yeah. Since there's no single best movie ever, but it's on that wall.
Yeah,
we'll continue that list. Out of the 5, give me 5. Of the movies that would belong in that plaque. You go first. You've already told me Terminator.
We said the other one too, Aliens.
In no specific order. Aliens or Alien?
Aliens.
The sequel.
Yeah, the sequel.
You put Aliens on there and not put Alien?
I don't want to have more of the same franchise.
But if you could put them, they would probably be the same one. Like if it's 1 and 2.
I would say
they're the same caliber movie. I think Terminator 1 is more innovative than T2.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I see what you're saying.
But T2 is the one. So, I'd say those two. I would say, top 5 on that plaque.
Yeah, it's tough.
On that plaque.
Independence Day.
Independence Day is one of my favorite movies. It's actually the movie that made me, like, it brought me into it. I don't know if it would. It might be on that plaque. It might be. It might be. That is my favorite movie, though. Or it has one of my favorite movie scenes, I should say.
Yes, serious.
But on the plaque. Okay. Aliens.
I agree.
Terminator 2. People are not going to agree with it. Django Unchained.
Django. Wow.
Django Unchained.
Okay.
I put that on that.
All right.
It's a big wall, but if I had to name 5 that are for sure on there. There's so many movies. It's a billion.
Well, I said your top 5. Again, in no particular order.
Also have to say...
Rotating Scooty buddy. Yeah.
I wandered off thinking.
I wondered. He just drifted away.
That's a really heavy one.
Well, we at least know your top 3. Goodfellas? Really?
I put Goodfellas in there.
Okay, that's different. That's different than any other ones.
I would put Menace to Society in there. That movie is cinematic gold. Even though a lot of it was just cats playing themselves, that movie was just, So, that's an interesting 5.
Terminator, Aliens, Menace to Society.
And,
the other one, Help Us Out, Jake.
Goodfellas, the Mob.
Goodfellas.
And,
there's one more. I don't think you named the 5th one. Oh, Django. Django, yeah. So, Jake, if your top 5 movies that would be like the best movies that were ever made, what would your top 5 be?
My top 5.
Your top 5, not Austin's.
I'm gonna
top
watch
5.
this again and be like, why did I say that? There's too many movies.
There is.
There's literally just too many.
In no particular order.
No particular order.
Okay, fine. Indiana Jones.
Okay, which
Jurassic.
one?
Raiders of the Lost Ark or Temple of Doom or
Temple of Doom.
Temple of Doom. Because all the first 3.
Well, I would say any of the first.
Yeah, the first 3.
Okay.
as a series, I would put that in there as one black.
Last Crusade.
Jurassic Park.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another one would be Untouchables.
Yeah.
Untouchables.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With De Niro.
Yeah. Untouchables. We'll say
And Pacino.
Any Given Sunday.
Ooh,
That's a
Any
good
Given
one.
Sunday. That is a good one.
My name is Willie.
I love that movie. I haven't seen that in so long.
God, it's a Clint Eastwood Western, but I'm forgetting the name of it.
Dirty Harry? No, that's not a Western.
Man, just thought of another.
Damn it, I know it. I can't think of it.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah, okay. That. So that's your top 5.
Yeah.
Well, Cyrus has his. It looks like he likes Pulp Fiction and Endgame.
That's my favorite Tarantino movie.
I can't stand that movie. I hate that movie. It took me 3 times to watch it, and the 3rd time I was like,
why did I watch
why?
it? I know.
It's like 4 different stories, and none of them, they were like thrown together at different times. It was like, it's like literally watching it's like watching a unput together puzzle. It was weird. So he's got Pulp Fiction, Endgame, and Godfather. So those are the top 3.
Godfather, I was thinking of saying that one. But I didn't know if the choose between Godfather and Godfather 2.
So I don't like mob movies, so those 2 are ones that I haven't seen.
Huge mob movie fan. Never watched Godfather.
Departed.
What?
The Departed.
I saw Departed. That was pretty good.
Oh, okay, not a mob movie, but still not really. But No Country for Old Men.
I like that. That wasn't a mob movie though.
Kinda. It's about
not
Mexican
really.
mafia.
No. When we think mob, I always think Godfather, Goodfellas. But mine would have to be Independence Day. Again, no particular order. Independence Day. It has to be.
Boom.
Again, T2.
Boom.
I'm putting Alien 1 and Alien 2 in the same plaque. I'm putting them in the same
I'm
one.
gonna say it's on the wall.
I have to.
If I have to choose like a top.
Because
5,
I like again with the same thing with Terminator. I like Terminator, but it's not one of those movies that's like belongs up there. I think it's good, but T2 is just like
T2's the one.
If T2 was the only one that existed, I would not cry.
Right. Right.
But then that would just be Terminator.
Shut the fuck up. Infinity War. I'd put Infinity War on there.
It go on the wall.
I believe it is, and only because I feel a certain way about comedies, and just the way that this movie makes me laugh, it is so perfect. It may not be like the greatest, but I think it belongs on the wall. This is just for me personally, but this is the end.
That was a good one.
I love This Is the End.
That was good.
So much, and I think that is probably one of the funniest movies that I have ever seen in my entire life.
It's actually up there, yeah. That's an excellent. Can we bounce back to what we said earlier? Good use of CGI and practical effects.
Yes,
that shit was dope. That movie was awesome.
It is so good. And it has no business being that good. Because
it's
really about the apocalypse and just a bunch of real actors dying in an apocalypse.
They really went in that one.
Didn't know how I felt about it, and then they killed off Michael Cera with that. And I was like, alright, you got me hooked for the next hour and 20 minutes.
And it's just a comedy. Like, it's not like it's such a well-written story or a well-rounded story and there's excellent character development. No, it's all the characters are playing exactly how you think they were, but it's just the scenarios and how they deal with each other. Mm-hmm. Like the scene about with Danny McBride and Jane Franco talking about, I'm gonna fucking come in your walls, I'm gonna come everywhere I want. That scene is gross, but it's just so funny, and I cannot help but laugh at it every time I hear it.
You ever talk about killing Emma Watson, like, kind of like in front of her? Said, I can hear you. I need to watch that again. It's been a minute. That's a great one.
I love it.
Thank you for bringing that one up.
Yes, I feel like that is a really good one, and if you have not seen any of the movies that we have named, shame on you. Go watch them. Go watch them. Now, if those movies were remade or rebooted, how?
They couldn't do it with Terminator, obviously.
You want to bet? It's Hollywood.
They couldn't figure it out. I think that's the one they should actually respectfully set aside and say, look, it's been 4 different attempts to gain some steam. The most successful was the original Terminator 3. which made
it was still just man.
But yeah. It was mild. It was
mild, very mild.
But they tried to bring it back with the intensity came back with Dark Fate.
Yeah.
But since T2 again was so innovative and it was the first time we'd seen something that intense. I mean, T2 was marketed to kids as an R-rated movie.
But then again, it was in the 90s.
It was in the 90s. It was like,
it don't matter.
It just can't hit today.
Yeah.
All it would do is just reintroduce people to what we already knew that was the big boom. And it's just not the same. Yeah. It's a good follow-up, but it will never have that same impact. Same thing with Independence Day. You'll never see LA, New York, and DC get blown up back to back, and it'll impact you like that again.
Yeah.
And see a nuke blow up a mothership like that again, because it was the first.
Yeah, it was the first time.
The last time they saw something to that caliber was Star Wars, but that's different. That wasn't an alien attack on Earth.
No, it wasn't. That was just like its own galaxy.
Right.
But speaking of reboots and remakes, we're gonna go the other side of that, and we're gonna talk about movies that probably either deserve one, a reboot or a remake, because you could see the potential back in the day, and it's just like, if this was made in a different time, this would be good. But right now, it's just either below or subpar, and I think I'm gonna go first, because I've actually been trying to remake this probably for like the last 4 or 5 years. They've already slated the actor and everyone, and as comic book fans, we should already know what I'm talking about. Spawn. Spawn was good, like, back in the day. But once you see that CGI, it's like...
The hell scenes were bad. The hell scenes were bad. But the movie was so good, we forgive it for that. It was simple. The movie was simple and straightforward. You could tell there was a first attempt, like, hey, put it on screen. Do it. Come back on Jay White. Oh, yeah, do it.
Yeah.
But...
and also, they had fucking Charlie Sheen's dad.
And Martin Sheen. John Leguizamo. Oh, yeah, that movie hit. But... Todd McFarlane can't even figure out how to do it. How long has he been talking about doing it?
They had Jamie Foxx casted for like the last 5 years.
But it's been like 15 years he's been working on it already.
Yeah.
It's been 15 years. Damn, that's when we graduated high school.
Yeah, we graduated high school 15 years ago. Yeah.
Whoa. Because that's when they started talking about it.
Yeah.
Like, they started talking about that in Mortal Kombat 3.
I wish I'm glad.
It was that time, and then, yeah.
What about you, Jake? A movie that deserves a remake, or a reboot? It's basically a second chance. Actually, no. Yeah, that same question. Ooh. Which would be better for it? Would a remake or reboot? Go ahead.
Two. I got two. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
First one up is Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron
needs to get rebooted.
Just that
specific movie
needs to be rebooted.
Interesting.
Huh.
I can see why it needs to be expanded. I don't know about necessarily like...
But not have it be the Age of Ultron. Just Ultron as a villain in an MCU movie.
Yeah. Not a one and done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, yeah, reboot that
concept.
But...
Dang. Yeah.
What was... Okay. I can see that. Just because they just opened up the multiverse. We've got Doctor Strange doing the thing that he's doing, so I can see that actually is a potential possibility of having Ultron come back, because we saw the Ultron box in the trailer of Doctor Strange, so it's a possibility.
That would be cool. That'd be really cool. That'd be a trilogy in itself.
Yeah, it should be.
Do Ultron right. Bring Peter back as a voice. That's fine, but like, let's do an actual Ultron story.
Yeah. I really like Spader as Ultron. I love his voice.
And it can be a one-off, Hank Pym could actually be the...
That's what I was going to say. You can exactly retroactively just yep.
And as I was talking to our friend Chris May about this last night, Marvel has an excuse for it. It's just multiverse.
Yeah.
That's what the rumors are. The rumors are after Doctor Strange, they say that this is the movie 616. After Doctor Strange, the theory is it's going to be like 617 or something. And they're going to move on to a different version of the... MCU.
First, you need to speak up because you got people you're talking to.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's a good mic, though. I mean,
yeah, but still.
Uncharted needs rebooted.
Already?
Yeah.
Already?
Yeah.
There's a sequel coming out.
I'm not happy with it.
Like, you ain't even gonna wait till
the thumbs down on that one. I have
waited so long to talk about this movie. I was gonna make a Facebook post about it. And like tagging NerdWord into it to get that all marketed out, and like, that movie is just so awful.
Dang, it's awful.
Oh, so you now say it's awful.
The action set pieces were great. I loved him jumping up to crates and stuff like from Uncharted 3. The fight scene stuff was good. I like how they did the puzzles. In the movie, that was all fantastic. But like everything else about Uncharted that made that movie was just wrong.
Yeah.
Dang.
I'm not gonna lie. As a fan of the games, I still think it's entertaining. I'm still gonna give it another chance whenever it comes out on Blu-ray and DVD because I'm probably gonna buy it because I'm a sheep to video game and comic book movies. But that's besides the point. I kind of agree in a way because it doesn't really consume the entire aesthetic of the Uncharted games. Yeah. They took some pieces and some parts of the games that had happened, which it being made by Sony and PlayStation Studios.
Did you see The Gunslinger?
Mm-mm.
The Stephen King movie?
No.
Okay. So it's like
the Gunslinger with Idris Elba?
Yeah.
I did see it.
Yeah, so in that movie they crammed like 7 of the books into an hour and 45 minutes.
Dang, that's
essentially what they did with Uncharted is they gave it the Gunslinger treatment where they crammed a bunch of shit in.
But see, here is the problem.
That we know it's separate events in the timeline, but the movie itself, I feel like, exists in its own kind of.
But here's the problem. But here's the thing, though. It was made by Sony, right, and also made by PlayStation Productions. They had the PlayStation Studios. They had the logo, the whole Marvel type studio intro.
The first movie then. What's PlayStation Studios?
I don't know.
So that's new.
Yeah, it's new. They had the whole Marvel intro like Marvel does, like the whole Sony PlayStation. They had that. And here's the thing. Sony owns both materials. They own the movies and they own the games. Mm-hmm. If they're taking their own... It would be like me taking something like a series that I've written and making a movie out of my series that I have written and it had continuous the same way over months and months and years. Making a movie, taking bits of those series, putting it into this movie and making a new movie. It's not something that you should do, especially if you own the material. Just make a whole new story,
right,
and just have it be canon, but also but make it like, oh, this happened before the first game. You don't need to reinvent the wheel because they gave him a whole new origin story when they didn't have to. A whole new origin story, completely different than what happened in the game, and it doesn't make sense. Like, why would you do that? Especially if you own the material.
Yeah.
If they didn't own the material, I can understand. Like, if they had given it to Fox and they were just like, hey, make a movie out of Uncharted. It wouldn't make sense because Uncharted's owned by Sony. But it's just the point. If you were handing it over to somebody else to make your product, it'd be like, okay,
source material to use.
Yeah.
You don't have to really mix it up.
But if it's already your product, why change it?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. At least to me. What's up? What's going on? What's happening? Is it Andy? I don't know if I said your name wrong. I apologize, but welcome to the podcast.
Welcome.
We are talking about stuff, and I do like Michael Jai White. I wish he would come back for Spawn, but Jamie Foxx is already slated to play as him. That was 5 years ago, so I don't know if that's even still true.
I mean, the updates for the Spawn movie have changed every half decade.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's still development hell.
Yeah, it's development hell. Well, I appreciate you being here on the podcast. Austin, movie that deserves a reboot and a remake, and the movie that you pick, what would be better for it, a reboot or a remake?
Think on that one.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies out there.
Yeah. Originally, I was just gonna pop off and say Twister.
Ooh.
Because of crazy weather, kind of have a maybe expanded universe based on like these storm chasers that deal with different storms every time. So not just a tornado, but hurricane.
That would be cool.
Stay there, or it'd be kind of like a disaster universe because I have to admit I like the disaster porn.
I love that. I like disaster porn.
It's brainless. Yeah, it's brainless fun sometimes. I haven't seen Moonfall yet, but.
You ever seen what?
Moonfall.
I haven't seen that either.
Yeah, I'm gonna just go see it because the Earth is probably gonna get blown up.
It's on Netflix, so go see it.
No, it's in theaters. I think
it's on Netflix though. It's a Netflix movie.
No, Moonfall's
Oh no, I'm thinking of Don't Look Up.
Yeah, that's Don't Look Up.
Yeah. Okay, Moonfall. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, I got them confused.
That did not get a lot of press. That one slipped under, but Twister would be interesting. or I'm thinking of a superhero that's not, because Warner Brothers doesn't know what they're doing. Superman,
boy,
with
no.
Henry Cavill.
That don't deserve a remake or a reboot. That deserves a sequel.
A sequel, but it
deserves a sequel.
Because the first one was
sequel boot.
Hear me out. The first one was almost like a prequel. It's a prequel to what people know to be Superman. So, Man of Steel is not Superman, the movie.
Yes.
It's just like, before we get to the god of superheroes, here's an entire freaking epic origin story prequel.
Yeah.
And we're making a prequel before the actual movie. And I just feel like we never got Superman. Yeah, so I guess it's a sequel. But, like, they got to do Superman.
We never saw it at its full potential.
We didn't see it. It's been like 10 years, I think, almost.
Yeah. I agree.
And Justice League...
But they got their justice, no pun intended.
All was well.
Yeah.
We still didn't get Superman, the movie.
This is true.
I liked him because he's in Justice League. I want Superman. And it's going to be different. I'll say it's a remake because it's going to have it needs to have a different atmosphere, ambience.
Yeah.
The Man of Steel, it's not going to be bleak. It's just going to be the complete opposite. But it's still Henry Cavill. Yeah,
because they definitely... I love Henry Cavill.
Yeah, that's Superman.
Yeah, he's Superman.
That's Superman.
And no, Andy, that does not mean that's your name. That just means people are saying it wrong. So, yeah, I agree.
Caviezel?
Huh?
Caviezel?
Caviezel? The guy from the first one?
Yeah.
One that I actually think deserves a reboot. That absolutely, in my heart, think that needs another shot. It's really hard to say because there are so many movies out there, and there are so many, like, a lot of the ones that I would want to see rebooted came out with sequels. Like, for example, The Matrix. I still haven't seen it yet.
I actually liked it. A lot of people didn't. We have a different taste in movies though, so I don't know if you would like it or not.
But I love the originals.
It's different. It's not the
different.
Originals.
Oh, really? Fair enough.
There's nostalgia of the originals in it, but it's...
Well, there's one that I think needs... I would say a reboot, but also not... I think I'm going to go with requel as well.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of movies, the ones that are... It's really hard to say, like, what needs a reboot, or what needs to be rebooted, or what needs to have, like, another spin-off or whatever. Because Tomb Raider got a reboot, and I liked it. I thought Tomb Raider was really good.
Alicia Vikander?
Yeah. Alien got a reboot. You can't... and some of the ones that are really classics... I'm over here looking at my movies. Some of the ones that are really classics, you can't reboot, and you shouldn't touch. And so it's really, really hard, but I honestly think if they were going to redo it... This is going to hurt. This is going to hurt to say. Because they made a lot.
What?
They made a lot. And they've just continued them. But I think they need to stop. Even though he is the greatest action star that we have ever seen.
Oh, Fast and Furious?
Oh, fuck no. I hate Fast and Furious. Mission Impossible.
Oh.
Because Tom Cruise has done 80, 11, 752 Mission Impossible movies. Granted, they were all good.
They keep getting better.
They kept getting better.
They kept getting better.
They were good. So I'm not dissing them. But this is why I'm saying it hurts to say this. But we can do different stuff. Give me somebody else other than Tom Cruise. Like, it doesn't even have to be a reboot. Just get rid of Tom Cruise. Give me somebody else to follow. Give me somebody else. Because at some point, you look at Tom Cruise and you just want him to fail because he's like Tom Brady. He's like, even though Tom Brady is the GOAT, when he lost to the Eagles and lost that perfect record, it's like, yeah. So I want to see someone else take the reins. He obviously doesn't have to be Ethan, but give somebody else a chance to shine. Do these missions. Like,
was Ethan Hunt the original character in the show?
I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm wondering because if they rebooted again, it would just be like the third iteration of Mission Impossible.
But is Ethan Hunt the real name, or is he like James Bond?
Right, like James Bond, exactly. It's just an alias.
Yeah, just an alias. Which I think they're going to be rebooting James Bond again, but I don't know how much they're going to do that. They can
wait, because James Bond doesn't immediately need to like be on screen.
This is true, and they just released the movie too.
Whew. And I think the latest iteration is the most official one, or the most consistent, I should say, of all of them. Like
No Time to Die.
Yeah,
I still haven't seen it.
Just those 5. Also, it's the only one that. Who else has played Bond 5 times? Did Sean Connery play him 5 times?
I think he did.
Yeah, check that, because he might have tied Sean Connery for the most appearances as 007.
I believe you may be correct.
I'll give Daniel Craig some credit for that one.
Actually, no. No, 1, 2.
Timothy Dalton had like 2. Pierce had 4. Robert Lazenby.
Well,
Robert Kansan. What's it?
See, I don't know, because there was one guy who played him like once. It was like one movie.
I think Robert someone.
And it doesn't
get just one appearance.
And it keeps telling me like how many. It doesn't tell me how many movies he's been in. It just keeps telling me how many years he's played as James.
Well, do this.
Oh, there he is.
When
there
did
is.
Quantum of
So
Solace
1, 2, 3. We had 5. So 6. He had 6 because he had 5, and then George Lazenby played him.
Yeah.
And then Sean Connery came back for the 6th movie.
Oh, okay. Because they were like, nah, I get that dude.
Actually, the one who's played the most is Roger Moore.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He's played him 7.
7? Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah, because he was in there from the 80s to like the early 2000s.
No.
Never dies.
Roger Moore was.
Oh, was that Pierce?
Yeah, Roger was from 73 to 85, the year I was born.
And then it was
Timothy Dalton for 2 movies.
Yeah.
And then it was Pierce Brosnan for 5.
He did 5 or 4?
4. He did 4.
Yeah.
Goldeneye, Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough. Honestly, he's still my favorite.
Die Another Day.
He's still my favorite.
That's a James Bond too.
And then you had Daniel Craig for 5.
Yeah.
So
that's a series. Look at all that.
Yeah.
How far does that series go back?
It's 2021. It's when the last movie came out. The first movie came out in 62.
King of the movie universe.
King.
MCU is trying to get there.
How many movies is that?
Even if the MCU has that many movies, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, because that's because because MCU had 22 movies over 10, 11 years.
Yeah.
This has gone from a lot. A lot of movies.
50 years.
What is he?
Counting him individually on the screen.
Beautiful.
We got full
That's
card.
some years.
Okay, it's definitely not that much. I'm not gonna count them all because that's a lot.
What's the first movie? The first movie was released in.
It's 62.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and he's got 6, so 7 plus what is that? 6.
That's 60 years of movies.
7 plus 7 is 14. If my math is correct, which is probably not.
It's like 60 years of movies.
Yeah.
It's 2022.
So that's 16. That's 20, 25 movies. According to this, if my math is correct, which again, I'm not correct. I'm not right with anything.
With 6 actors too. That's 007.
Yeah. But the thing about those is like in comparison to like, let's say the 27 movies. I'm sorry, there's been 27, so I must have missed some somewhere. But the difference between like the James Bond movies and like the MCU movies is those MCU movies came out 3 a year because there were 3 different stories as opposed to James Bond. You're focusing on one story, one person, and his conquest.
Right.
So you'll obviously that it makes more sense for James Bond, but still to have those amount of movies come out that course of the amount of time and still be popular to this day is leagues.
The Infinity Saga is the only competitor.
And it's not. And honestly, it's not
even.
It's not
a competitor.
Because 22 movies in 10 years, and they were cranking out 3 movies a year.
Yeah, that's
2 or 3.
Nothing. It's really not a comparison.
So yeah, it's really not that comparison.
007 reigns supreme. Yeah.
Huh.
MCU is impressive for what they've done, what they were able to accomplish.
Yeah, but it is impressive.
We'll see. We'll see what's going on. It's been 10 years into it?
It's been over 10 years.
Iron Man came out 2000. Was it 2007?
Mm-hmm.
That was 2008. Whoa.
No, 2008. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
2008.
But I'm only counting the Infinity Saga. I didn't count like the last couple movies that came out after Endgame because that was like Black Widow, Spider-Man. Both Spider-Mans. There's two Spider-Mans.
Do they count those as the Infinity Saga even? Like,
I think
Black Widow is, but not...
no. It came out after like the conclusion of the Infinity Saga, so...
No Way Home and...
Far From Home kind of a... Okay, if you want to run... Okay, everything up to Endgame. I'm counting only that. Everything after Endgame, go fuck off. But speaking of the MCU and comic book movies, there have been a lot, obviously, between MCU and DC... and the other ones in between. Now, the shows are coming out. The shows are really popular. Like, a lot of really popular shows, like Loki, all the MCU shows, basically. And then also, you got Titans. And then also, Peacemaker. Peacemaker is probably Peacemaker is probably the best show. You'll find, there'll be times where I'm walking around the house singing that song and doing the intro dance. Like, I'm not even going to lie. That show is probably the best. So, with that being said, the movies are great. But what the movies try to do is they try to take source materials and they try to take like a whole graphic novel's worth of material and try to cram it into one movie, as opposed to these series that have the length of like a short movie, like an hour, sometimes an hour 10 minutes.
I mean, you're talking about volumes that go back decades.
Yeah, but they also take like the parts of it and then they cram like for example, Age of Ultron. They take moments of this, moments of that, moments of this, and put them on in one movie. Exactly. As opposed to taking that specific source material and try to make a movie out of that, which they could do in a series if they take 12 episodes to tell a story, as opposed to take one movie that's 2 hours long and try to tell the same thing. So, do you think that comic book movies should leave the big screen and go to like transition to more like the streaming platforms, like the TV shows and stuff, and stay there? Not like S.H.I.E.L.D., because obviously S.H.I.E.L.D. is not comparable to Loki or to the Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So, do you think they should go more that route? What do you think, Jake? Because I know you're more of a DC guy and you're not big of MCU, probably for that reason, because they try to cram so much.
Keep them in the theaters.
Keep them in theaters.
Keep them in the theaters. Right now, we're not really getting a whole lot of story and substance from these like 8-episode series from Disney. Honestly, WandaVision, if I sat down and watched the entire series and somebody wanted to watch it without watching all of it, I could pick 3 episodes and they could figure out the plot. It's how Loki was. It's how what came out after Loki.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah. And then Hawkeye.
That's how Hawkeye was too. You could miss a good chunk of Hawkeye, and then come back in towards the tail end, and that stuff that happened in between didn't matter. Okay. So there's a lot of filler that exists in the Disney series stuff, and even
that's just Disney though.
Yeah, that's just Disney as well.
Well, I mean, not just even Disney, even with like the MCU stuff, like Daredevil. Luke Cage. Yeah. Jessica Jones. There's a lot of stuff you can just kind of cut the crap out and then jump back in later into the season. Yeah. When Peacemaker falls into the same category, that's what a lot of people said at the first.
I don't care what they said; they're wrong. Peacemaker, each episode was great.
You gotta get the appreciation of the characters with laughs, and that's what makes it an experience. But narratively, I understand exactly what you're saying. Yeah. Shows like Peacemaker, whenever they nail it like that, every episode is just an experience. You're like, I gotta get my jollies in. Yeah. Gotta peep it and stuff. But I definitely understand what kind of like that formulaic. I know where they're going with this. Do we only have to watch? Like, you're right, especially with Hawkeye.
I loved Hawkeye.
It was okay.
Oh, no, it was great.
It was okay. It was okay. It's not. We're not saying it's like bad, but there's definitely certain properties in comic books that should be and shouldn't be. I don't think they should leave the big screen, but specific properties could definitely work as shows. All the examples that we just went through were examples of why they don't necessarily have to be on the small screen. But if there was one that did, wouldn't X-Men of all.
Yeah, because Cirrus actually just said they still can't do the Phoenix right, and I was just thinking like if they were to try to do the Phoenix Saga, that should probably be a show because
either that
they can stretch that out.
Or X-Men is the show, and Phoenix is one of the X-Men trilogy movies because you want it on the small screen and the big screen. So you have season 1, 2, 3, boom, Phoenix trilogy.
Okay, yeah, I can see
3 years
that,
in a row. Boom, put the show back on. Oh shit, Onslaught or Secret Wars or whatever. Like, and that way you can have branch off shows. Look at how like The Walking Dead branched off to like Fear the Walking Dead and whatnot. Like, you could have X-Force.
Yep.
You could have Excalibur.
Yep.
You could have the New Mutants or Generation X. There's just so much you could work with.
Especially with the amount of source material there is. There's no shortage of it.
No shortage of source material.
And I know how like filmmakers, they like to condense things and change things up so that way it fits more of the general audience. Which I feel like this is just me as a consumer. A consumer of both the source material and the newer material. I think it would just make more sense to cater to the people as the source material as opposed to the general audience. Because I get it. You got to make your money back.
Right.
But us as the consumers of the source material, we're going to spend our money on it. Like, regardless of whether it's good or not, because movies like Age of Ultron do as well as they do because we go see it.
Right.
Even if it's not as good as some people may say, we still spend our money to go see it. So they're going to make their money because, like we talked last week, it says Marvel on the title. And we're going to see
That's
it.
all it takes for some people to say,
It really is.
Zoom.
It really is. Especially within the last 10 years because of how popular superheroes have become.
Yeah.
And how much of the norm it has been.
It's a wave.
It is. X-Men was good in the 90s series, especially the cartoon. I can't wait for them to come back. I cannot wait for them to come back. Yes.
Yes. There's some theories about that if you want to go into conspiracy theories.
Please, this is what we're here for. Because it still can follow in the 90s because the cartoons came out, the original cartoons came out in the 90s. Mm-hmm. And we're getting a reboot into 2020 or 20...
and it has to do with that reboot.
So it goes with two different categories. So I want to hear these X-Men theories.
They're taking it off from where it left off
in
the early 90s. The series ended with Professor X being taken by the Shi'ar to their world because he was injured and they had to only their technology and their powers could heal him. So Xavier's missing. And there was an entire following that they were gonna write and film in the 90s, but they just canceled it and did Spider-Man instead. There is apparently a way they're saying this new Doctor Strange movie, and again, this is just rumors.
Yeah, I like rumors.
It's just rumors that the Doctor Strange movie is breaking into every single multiverse. So that includes the Spideyverse and the Sonyverse, and apparently the X-Men animated verse.
Guy.
The X-Men animated verse.
Okay.
And the Spideyverse are on the table of being animated worlds that are explored in that movie. And a theory is, since in the 90s they were going to continue X-Men without Professor X, he got abducted and taken into the MC616.
Dun, dun, dun! We should have definitely had you on our Doctor Strange theories last
But that's
week.
just out. We're going outrageous. Remember we said we weren't going to do this with Doctor Strange like we did with Spider-Man?
We did,
but we're still doing it.
We always do because we're nerds and we're on a podcast, so this is what we do. This is our Well, this isn't our job. This is our volunteer work. This is our parole.
This is our fun time.
Yeah, talk about nerd stuff and movies and comic books and video games. And speaking of video games, there's this video game coming out that I just wanted to briefly discuss because I love video games. Check out the stream, twitch.tv/ If you're on Twitch, you probably see this. Twitch.tv/HaplessLuckett for streams. Anyway, so plug. There's this game called Wanted: Dead. Now, we all seen the trailer, and I think this looks great, only because it takes two elements of gaming. A lot of people like, close quarters, hand-to-hand combat, using swords and stuff like that. And a lot of people like to play games where, you shoot 'em ups. And this takes...
Had plenty of both.
Both concepts and mashes them together. And I think it's just a beautiful trailer. I think it looks good because, again, it takes a balance between, because a lot of games either have like a sword or knives as your like primary, and you have like a gun or something as your secondary, or you have powers, or it's the other way around where you have guns and your sword or your close quarters is your secondary. This looks like it takes a good mix of both. You can pick guns, you can pick swords, and it looks like you can upgrade them, and it's different. So how do you think that is for like the gaming usually? Because you usually have one or the other. So what do you think that does for like? How is this game different?
Well, the heads were rolling.
Yeah, literally,
that trailer.
Yeah,
limbs and heads were flying. So if you want to be very intimate, up close and personal, depending on your gaming style, like it's a mix.
Yeah,
like you were saying, and if you want to pop somebody from the rooftop, they offer that experience as well. And
it's definitely a gore fest.
Yeah,
it's definitely. It reminds me.
It's pretty intense.
It reminds me of. Remember for PlayStation? Was it? I think it was PlayStation. Was it PlayStation 2? It might have been PlayStation 2, maybe PlayStation 3, or Xbox 360. Wolverine Origins. Remember Wolverine?
I never played that game.
You never played that?
No. I never played that game.
You know what you get?
Bloody one?
You get one of these. This is what you get for never playing that game, because that game was different.
Really?
It was different. The movie, we all know what the movie was.
That's why
the movie was trash.
The
movie was
tarnished
butt
it.
juice.
It tarnished it for me.
That game is what that movie should have been.
Mm.
No holds barred, heads rolling, every body part getting chopped up. It was gory, it was graphic, and it was beautiful. So that's kind of what that looks like. What do you think, Jake? Because you're also a gamer.
Am I? Is that why I'm here?
I'm
a movie guy and a gamer. Would you say I'm a nerd?
Yeah, I would say you're a nerd. You nerd.
You
nerd.
Went back and rewatched the trailer. For a third-person action game, it seems pretty interesting with the approach and everything, and really breaks away from your generic third-person action control schemes. So
yeah,
So
that's what I was thinking, because you either get one or the other, and it seems like it really caters to your action needs, because it looks like it's got a little bit of close quarter judo, like the John Wick, you roll around, you're shooting somebody.
It's expanded.
Yeah.
So it's not just
like you just have to shoot, or you just have to.
Oh no, you have a variety with each style.
Yeah, exactly.
Each mode of play,
and it comes out this year. It doesn't give a specific date, and I would like to know more about it. I would like to see more. If you'd like to see the trailer, go to YouTube, look up Wanted semicolon dead.
Goodness.
Nerd words are hard.
Nerd.
You nerd.
Word.
Yes, but that game definitely looks good, and I've been going crazy with games. I've been buying a lot of games, so that's another one that's going to be now on the list of money for me to spend that I don't have.
Wallet cuss you out right now.
My wallet is hyperventilating. Come on, guys.
Brad, we just talked about this, Brad. Brad, we just talked, Brad.
That's pretty much how my wallet is. My wallet my wallet is flatlining right now. It needs CPR and them electric paddles. Clear. But yeah, I think that game is going to be dope when it comes out, and I spend my last $70 on it.
Worthy of the collection.
It is. My collection is expensive.
Yeah.
So, that being said, that concludes this episode of Nerd Word. Jake, final thoughts for the day. It's too silent. You gotta say something. Give me something, man.
Just stare off into the
Just stare. Yeah. I have the button.
Do you have a cricket?
I do, but I don't know where it's at. Oh my god. Oh
What's
wait.
happening?
There. That's Jacob's thinking time.
I think we discussed a lot of cool things, and there's a lot of stuff that people need to check out. Think about it. What was better, 90s or their 2000 counterparts?
Yes, please. We want to we want to know what you think. Put it in the comments, or send us a message on Facebook or whatever. HaplessLuckett. We need a Nerd Word Facebook and a Nerd Word YouTube. I think we need to get off of my ish.
Yeah.
And get our own.
Stop sucking on your teeth.
But I like having you suckle on my teeth.
Is that how you get your validation?
That's how you get
That's
your
how I get my
validation.
validation.
That's just how.
Guy, final thoughts.
My final thoughts. Thanks for having me on. This is
we appreciate
great
it.
experience, fun times, and I have to think of something I take away from our conversation. What you said with the comparison of '90s to now, really appreciating the use of the technology that was available in the '90s,
yes,
compared to what we have now, seeing which one stands the test of time.
Well, so far, we're in 2022, and a lot of those movies came out in the 80s. They're as old as we are, and older. And they're still standing the test of time. Thank you, Sirius, for being here. We appreciate that.
Appreciate you.
And my final thoughts are, cheese grater do not belong in washing machines. And that is our show. Good night! Where's the close button?